Just kill me. Like, I don't
Well,
wanna
because then they're taking your energy. You're taking your life force.
It's like they're raising your energy to that high point and then like cutting it off all of a sudden. But I think that the most fascinating thing, like I said, was the thing that brought them all down was their belief. Like that was the catalyst for like taking down the whole cartel and the whole like ritual sacrifices and all that stuff. But you know, still to this day, you wonder, like, man, how can people do that? But still to this day, there's like brutal killings that they do, like dismembering families and hanging people from under the bridge in Mexico. Yeah, these cartels are still like doing this like crazy stuff, and you think, I'm pretty sure these rituals are still going on. Like,
oh yeah, I've heard other stories like that. I heard some on Mysterious Universe kind of like that once. I've heard that same cult and cartels using dark magic to sacrifice people's story before. Nothing like that though. That was crazy.
Well, they're inciting fear in the population, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
we talked about that in an earlier podcast.
And this Adolfo guy took on this. I don't know, this this other kind of like you said, the ensuing the fear in everyone of what this guy could do. He took on this like persona of this sorcerer, I guess, whatever it was. And I guess that's kind of the idea, as well as everything else they believe too, is like that they want to instill this fear and they want to be big, larger than life, like you don't fuck with us kind of thing. Otherwise, like, it's not just bullets that are coming after you. It's you know, it's some dark shit.
But it also comes back after them. You know, that's what I'm saying, is that if you use the dark arts to set up rituals and sacrifices, the dark arts, then it'll come back, and it comes back in a vengeance.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't turn out well for anyone, this story. Right, sure.
Because once that demon can't feed on you anymore, it has to feed on something else.
Awesome story.
Interesting stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that was
a little dark, I apologize.
We went from like super light and like rituals, plants to darkness.
I mean, I like a good dark story.
A necklace made out of a spine.
Yeah, that's messed up. I don't know what religion that's part of, but man.
But I mean, there's also the thing of curses, right? Like, you know, when people say, I curse you, right?
Well, that's what these guys were doing too. It wasn't just protection. They were putting curses on other rival cartels and people who were investigating them. That's why the police wanted their own bruja to come with them to protect them from, you know, the negative shit they were putting on people as well.
But you could send negative energy without doing like a whole ritual, or you're killing animals and stuff like that. You could just send negative energy to somebody. Mm-hmm. It's just if they can receive it or not. Yep. Right? If they believe in that. Like, you know, like, you know, I hate to make this light and fluffy, but do you know, like, when you say to when someone doesn't like somebody, right? But and that person feels that there's a lot of people that don't like them, that's negative energy. Yeah. So it starts to feed on their life force. So they're just igniting that with like sacrifices and belief systems, because then people really get involved and behind it.
Yeah.
But Josh has some curses.
Yes, I did some research. I have some dark stories as well, but I would say maybe they're a little more fun.
Please bring us out of this hole.
No, that was great. You had me mesmerized for like 30 minutes straight. That was awesome. So my research took me to cursed objects. I've always been fascinated since when I was a kid. My mom had a necklace. We call it the White Witch's necklace.
Ooh. Wait, is this a top 3?
Yep.
Do we need to introduce us?
Yes, we do. Yes, sir. Woo-hoo! So coming up next, right after the break, we're going to do Woke AF Top 3 Josh's favorite haunted objects / cursed objects.
Love it.
Woke AF Top 3. We're back. It's time for Woke AF Top 3, my favorite top 3 haunted or cursed objects. I got an awesome personal story that's going to go number 3. All right, so first I found these 2 great stories from my favorite people who I pay a monthly fee to be a part of their club, Dana and Greg Newkirk.
Yes.
And this is the first 2 things I want to talk about are from the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and the Occult. First one's gonna be quick. It's a good story, and they haven't released their archives to fully go into all the specifics. But I just want to read exactly what this is called. This is called Smiley. And what is Smiley?
Ooh, that's creepy already.
Smiley is a ironic wall art piece of a clown. Just picture a classic clown in your head. Ready? I'm just gonna read this verbatim.
Yeah.
Purchased.
I saw it. Forget it.
I love it. I saw the comic face. I was like, I have to investigate this. Purchased at a thrift store by Miami University students in the 70s, Smiley ended up being more than a piece of ironic wall art hanging in their shared apartment. He ended up being a waking nightmare. Within days of Smiley entering the building, the students began to experience increasingly powerful sleep paralysis. Matt O'Connor? Leaving them frozen in fear as a dog-eyed humanoid figure crept towards them. I like the story because it reminds me of your childhood story.
Dog-eyed?
Dog-eyed. By the time the students realized they were both experiencing the same phenomenon, the activity had gotten so bad that the entity was actually climbing onto their beds as they lay helpless. In just 3 weeks of regular encounters with the entity, after just 3 weeks, the students requested Newkirk's remove the piece. So they haven't released all the details and the history of this thing yet, but I'm looking forward to when they do because it's an older piece that's been shared a few times. It's just Smiley the Clown. That's number 3.
So how did they work out that it was coming from the painting?
Well,
They don't know. That's what I don't know that. They're going to release all that information soon.
Oh, cool.
It's a tease. It's a teasy one.
Yeah, okay.
The next one I have all the information for.
It's interesting how you can curse an object and that whatever energy you put in there just gets trapped and it just waits for somebody else to feed on.
Yeah. What's that called? It's when there's spirit attachment to an object.
Well, a lot of times it's not that. So that's what's going on. It's that entity trying to make it seem like the object. Something's going on with the object, like it's alive. So then a kid will play with it, or someone will start playing with it, and then interaction with it will slowly let them come onto the person. A lot of times, but there's also the opposite. What you're saying, the word I don't remember.
Psychometry.
Isn't that psychic when you like try to feel the energy of an object?
Yeah, but there's like anyway.
Anyways, okay.
Let's not get bogged down on this.
Let's go on to number 2. This one it gets creepier. These stories get better and better. It's called the begging box. Okay, so this is a great story. The Newkirks acquired this in a parking lot in Chicago at a Denny's in 2017. What they came across was a locked box that was old, and they brought this box. They got it from this guy who wants to remain anonymous, and I'll go into the details in a second, but they brought it back to the hotel room, opened it, and what they discovered was a golden monkey head, basically, not made of gold, like ornated and looking crazy. The way they described it was interesting. Inside the box was the intricately decorated monkey skull, gently wrapped in a tattered black cloth. The skull's black eyes gazed long into the distance, and a heavy coat of grime hinted at the item's age. An ornate, hinged cap, topped with a red stone, sat in the skull's head and flipped back to reveal an offering plate, which appeared to be covered in ash. This is where the skull ate. Okay, so the background of the skull is the guy who had it got it from his father or grandfather, who brought it from Tibet in the 50s. And they kept this thing in their life. So this guy grew up with it in the house, and his father would apparently give it wine every once in a while to appease it. There'd be an uneasy feeling in the house, and everyone would be like, "It's time to give the
so they started giving
wine."
offerings.
So they started giving offerings of just wine at first, and they would feel these uneasy feelings. It would happen like once a year. It wasn't all the time. So like a whole year would go by. But if you gave it an offering, the guy's life was great. You got a new job. You got a raise. You got a new car. It's like luck was falling on him. By giving to this skull, it was good luck. Anyways, one weekend the grandfather went away, and the house, everyone started to get that feeling, and they couldn't unlock the box. So they didn't have the key. And it was classic poltergeist activity. Like there was net rattling on the walls, voices, like all sorts of crazy stuff. And they even saw a apparition, a fully animalistic, like crazy thing. And this thing looks crazy. If you go on their site, it has like jowls. It's like an angry looking monkey. You know, it's like some crazy psycho Incan looking monkey thing, which is fascinating. So long story, but eventually it was passed down to this guy who obviously didn't want it in his house, experienced a crap load of bad luck because he stopped giving it offerings. So the Newkirks took it from him, and that night they went back to the hotel room and immediately started experiencing a bunch of crazy stuff, all sorts of classic haunting stuff. And what they found in it was they were wondering, like, did they only give it wine? And the guy said, well, there is a knife missing from it that was there a long time ago when his father had it. So who knows what they were really offering it. It might have just been
maybe
wine.
Blood?
Yeah, I mean, it's a knife. You know, they're probably getting stabby somewhere.
Maybe they're just cutting banana up for it or something.
Maybe just put it in the utensil drawer and they forget about it. Yeah.
So this is why I love the Newkirk so much. How do they take this stuff and then they have like a room full of this stuff, right?
Do they take the curse away from the object?
No, they leave it in there.
No, they do. They keep them all together. They kind of respect it. They test it, but they're not scared of it.
I think that's the big thing is they don't fear it.
Do they communicate with the bean and ask what it wants?
Well, they do. They have a bunch of videos that I didn't get into, but the interesting thing, they did figure out what it was. It is called a Tibetan Kapala, Kapala. These pieces are often created by human skulls which were sacred vessels used to appease wrathful entities in Buddhist temples. How? You guessed it, with offerings of wine and occasionally blood. As it turns out, these things, kappalas or begging bowls, were often paired with a ritual knife used to symbolically sever the life and organs of demonic entities. These organs would be then offered up to the gods in an effort to win their favor. So Newkirks just have this hanging out in their, house or apartment, wherever they live.
I would never want to go to their house. I'd be so afraid.
Yeah, they're so awesome though.
Thing,
I have such a professional crush on them.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing is they don't show it any fear, and they recognize it, but they don't give into the fear of it, and
they must protect themselves with rituals. I know Dana is a witch in the good way. She's always practicing rituals.
She practices that stuff. So.
Yeah, and check out Hellier on Amazon, season 1 and 2, guys. It's awesome. All right, here's my favorite. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, it's really good. Yeah.
All right, so my favorite story right now. These are the best 3 haunted object stories ever, but there are 3 of my favorite. This is a personal story, and again, I call it the necklace of the White Witch. So, in the early '80s, we lived in a Quonset hut in Little Compton, Rhode Island, a small farm town of about 3,000 people. I grew up there. What is a Quonset hut? You ever seen like a chicken coop where they got the big metal curved ceiling? Mm-hmm. Imagine that with a house. Yeah, it wasn't very nice.
Like the Amityville house?
Oh, I don't know. No, it's like real metal. Like it's a real metal. Like it used to be like a barn, and they turned it into something. Anyways, a Quonset hut. Look it up. Fun fact.
Yeah. All right, fun
Doesn't
fact.
matter. Has nothing to do with the story. Doesn't matter.
Great.
Might cut this out of the podcast. So, anyways, my mom had a party, and she had a bunch of friends over, military through my dad, and church friends. And one military guy showed up with a white witch, who claimed to be a white witch. I don't know exactly what type of witching she followed, but she was a witch. And my mom had a bunch of friends there who were not born-again Christians, but really at the time heavy into it, and they were wearing shirts like Jesus Saves and Go Jesus and High Fives Jesus. There wasn't a High Fives Jesus shirt, but I thought that'd be great.
All right.
So apparently the white witch was offended by that and was inside and kind of just
she was offended. I thought you were going to say that they were all like, get this witch out of here.
No, it was the opposite. So she was all like,
burn her.
Yeah, she didn't like that. She didn't like that energy for whatever reason. So my mom was really nice and befriended her anyways. My mom at the time was into the Christian faith.
I mean,
but
I get it too.
But she was like, hey, you want to be friends? Because I'm a really nice person, because my mom is. And the woman was like, yes, I do. Here's a necklace. I want to give you this necklace I'm wearing. You should wear it now. It's really. And my mom was like, it's really pretty. My mom vaguely remembers it being a necklace and can't really describe the ornament to me. She lost the details of it. So she wore this necklace. And over the next couple of months, she experienced like a radical transformation in her personality. So she went from normal mom, nice person, and she suddenly started losing the control of her emotions a lot. Anything that happened, she'd fly off the handle. She was way more sad, always felt dark, it just felt weird.
Whoa.
At first. So that's the first thing. That could be anything, right? Who knows that's a necklace? Then she started having all these dreams about a fire in the house, and like always these dreams of a fire, and she can't put it out, and something weird's happening. She started getting spooked out by that until one day the furnace in the house didn't work, and it wasn't going out the right pipes, and started filling the house with smoke as we were sleeping.
Oh my God, how scary.
And it was really scary. No one woke up. The only reason why we woke up is because our dog started barking at the time. And my mom woke up and came out, and she looked in the house, and the smoke was everywhere, but perfectly going around the fire alarms. Just moving around the house, around the fire alarms. She was like, what is happening? And she opened all the windows, and we ended up being okay. But yeah, we were 30, 40 minutes away from suffocating to death. Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't...
I was wondering if...
So what'd she do with the necklace? I have so many questions. Hold on.
No, okay. I have first question before we get to that point, because I'm sure you're going there. I was wondering if it was something that was attached to the necklace was causing this, or if the necklace was warning her that this was going to happen. But it seems like it was causing this if it was going around.
Yeah, it feels that way. It feels... I think what happened was my mom befriended her, but she didn't care.
Yeah.
And didn't like her friends or my mom. It was like, take my cursed necklace that I put something into that is going to fuck with you, and I wear this all the time to give to someone I don't like.
Yeah.
So my mom, one day on the couch, and my dad somehow figured it out, like, you've been acting weird since you got that necklace. What's going on with that? My mom got in touch with her church, this pastor named Bob Hollis that she was involved with. They all came to her house and took the necklace, blessed the house, took it out of there, drove it into like the middle of the ocean, got in a boat, and dropped it somewhere in the middle of the ocean. And then immediately my mom felt better.
Really?
That day.
That's
As soon as
crazy.
they took it from her life. So if you